Hey everyone, welcome back to the TraderLion channel. This is Richard here with Ross Haber, and today we're continuing on with our Chart of the Week series where we cover one of the charts from Ross Haber's top 10 report that he posts every single week for TL members. And if you're interested in that and getting even more ideas as well as market analysis, you can click the link that's popping up right now as well as link down below in the description. Today we'll be covering Vertex Energy VTNR, which is kind of a high-flying setup here, got a lot of potential, and yeah, we'll be talking about the overall chart, what we're looking for in terms of price and volume analysis, as well as the setup going into next week. So with that, Ross, I'll hand it over to you to kind of talk through the chart and what you both like about this chart and what you're looking for as a potential setup and buy point.
Absolutely. So I'm going to leave the fundamentals more or less for you to go over, right? So the one thing I will point out, as always, because it's got to be there, if it's especially in this market, is the group right here.
Right.
This is, you're going to have to stick to the leaders, especially in a market that's this crazy, getting starting to buy off the near the lows of a market that's been badly beat up, with leadership just really starting to come to. So we'll see what happens next week, but this is clearly one of the best looking stocks, albeit lower priced ones, in one of the best groups out there. It's got the fundamentals to boot, which Richard is going to go over, but technically we can see volume starts to really come in about here on the upside after a nice tight bottoming, I guess you could say, with an ultimate shakeout low here. Volume really starts to come in and show up to the upside here. That is not, as Bill would say, your grandma Tilly buying right here, 15, on a 15 million share day. That is institutions stepping up and pushing the stock higher, the elephants in the bath, as we used to say at the workshops. Again, we're seeing, temporarily we get a high in the stock and we sell off, undercut, but at the end of the day, volume declines exactly as you'd want to see. The price ultimately stabilizes and tightens, and as we start to move back up the right side here, here comes that upside volume again. You can actually start to see it start creeping in as early as here, right? So now we've got the massive push, big volume, all the way up to this 1432 prior high on the left side of a nice long base. And we've got a very pretty, whether you want to call it bull flag or pennant pattern, forming right on top of there. So whether you want to try and buy it in and around 1432, if buying on weakness is more your style, you can do. A very easy stop from there would be the low of the day on Friday, 1379. Also, pick a spot 15-ish. If you wanted to go 1522 here, that's what I'm using in the top 10 report this weekend as the spot. So 1522 and a 10-day moving average to me might be also a great spot. You could use the 10-day average as a place to begin your. So there's many ways to play this stock between the 10-day average, the $15 even Steven price, the high just 22 cents above, and then you've got this adds to that whole area of support. So technically I love this just because it shows the power, the relative strength, the earnings, which Richard are going to go over, and you can really you've really got the potential to make a handsome gain in a short amount of time based on the personality it's showed us just before. And at the same time, you can keep risk managed extremely tightly. So that risk reward here to me is superb. That being said, I'm going to let Richard go on to our fundamentals.
Yeah, and I like what you said about showing power, because I think this is kind of what we would classify as a performance enhancer, because it's kind of, it's not those super liquid names within the oil and gas group. It's one of the smaller ones that can really make dramatic gains in a short amount of time, and obviously we're always looking for those leading stocks and leading groups, and this is definitely a price and volume leader within that overall strong sector. So yeah, in terms of the fundamentals, we've got very strong earnings reports, the most recent 4 quarters. We didn't have earnings the most recent quarter, but going back, you can see very strong numbers. Yeah, that's what we look for. Triple digit earnings growth, great sales to match it. And even the most recent quarter where it wasn't looks like profitable. We did have still very strong sales growth, and obviously the price and volume action after that earnings report kind of speaks for itself. That's what kind of brought upon this most recent burst upwards to the top of that prior kind of base. Looking at the fund ownership, we've got a gradual increase overall from about 17 to 70, still on the kind of maybe lower end here. It's not heavily invested in terms of the fund ownership. When you don't have any of those high quality IBD mutual fund funds in here just yet, but it's not one that where there's only 5 funds in it at all. So that's a decent sign. And looking at the estimates, this really stands out to me. Super strong estimates for this year and nice fall through next year. And the most recent estimate revisions are up. But I think, as we've talked about multiple times, the most important thing in terms of the fundamentals here is that it's a leading stock within a leading group. If you're going to be going in long in a market like this, where it's a little bit iffy, the overall, major indexes are, below the majority of their moving averages. You want to be focused on overall groups and sectors that are above their moving averages and trending nicely, and oil and gas has pretty much been the leading group. So definitely one for, especially I think, the swing traders in here that are looking for some short-term gains. But we'll have to see if this can push further and continue its nice trend, because it's definitely got that potential, as we can see from the price and volume action. So yeah, that's pretty much all I would add about VTNR. Ross, any last words about the setup or the stock that you think we should cover?
You hit it, Richard. It definitely is more of a performance enhancer, more of a swing trade type of name. However, it could be, let's say we see this group reemerge with massive strength. Maybe it's one of those you can swing into a position. You just never know,
Right.
especially given you can't see it here. The top of that prior base, it may ultimately wind up being a great entry for a much bigger move higher. You never know, right? So
Absolutely.
it gives you that option. That's why I love the risk reward here. So
Yep, absolutely. And yeah, I'll be watching these highs pretty closely to see if it can break through that and start and move through that 15 level. And you can set a stop, very tight and logical right at this low from Friday. So we'll have to see how this acts. Let us know down below in the comment section what you think about this overall setup. And if there's any other names that you think we should be keeping an eye on, let us know that as well. And overall, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and leave a like down below. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and we'll see you guys in future videos. Thanks.